On today's episode, we'll be chatting about my finished show-off boomerang shawl, more whips, and acquisitions. Hey everyone, I'm Marina, and this is Pineapple Knits. This is my channel dedicated to knitting, spinning, and weaving. You can connect with me on social media at Pineapple Yarn, and you can connect with me on my website at pineappleyarn.com. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and if this is your first time viewing this channel, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I'm coming to you today from coastal South Carolina. It has been an absolutely crazy week. I think I could probably say that every week. Maybe I even do say that every week, but I'll get into more of that later on in the episode. So how are you doing? I hope that your spring going into summer is really great. I think we've finally hit summer. It has been raining a ton here, which we're very, very happy about because we went so long without having rain. But we are definitely having a lot of heat. Things feel like they're normal, so everything's good. I still haven't changed my shawl on my mannequin. This is the Nightshift shawl by Andrea Mowry. It's in a assortment of my handspun yarns. I love this shawl so much. I really would love to make another one. I don't wear it as often as I should. I think just because it's in a deep triangular shape, and that's not really the shape I usually gravitate towards, but it's okay. I still really love it. Okay, so let's get into my finished object this week. This is the Show Off Boomerang Shawl. This is a pattern by Klich. It is linked below. It's actually a free pattern. She just asked maybe she gives some suggestions for donations, which I think is very, very generous. I used one of my handspun yarns. This was from a fiber dyed by Shauna of Adelaide Cottage, and it is called Galaxy, and it's a merino seacell fiber. I want to say this is about a DK weight, so I knitted up at, I think, a size 5. I'd have to go back and check my notes because honestly, this took me a week or week and a half to knit up, and it was a very, very quick knit. So as you can tell, it's just about large enough for like a shawlette size. I really love this size though, because what I kind of pictured it as being close to the neck and then being able to put a coat on underneath just so it keeps your neck warm and not too bulky, not shawl wrapped around your neck. I knew it would be more of a shawlette size and I love it. I think it's so, so pretty. Now this is probably going to go into my gift knitting box, if you will. I actually think it'd be really, really pretty on my mother-in-law because she has that kind of coloring, and this is kind of like her color. She would look really good in this. And so yeah, maybe I will gift it to her for Christmas or something. But this was just such a fun pattern. It flew off my needles, and I am definitely going to be knitting this pattern again in more handspun because it was so much fun. It was really, really great. I'm going to give you a close-up of the final knitted stitches because they're so pretty. One thing I really love about this is the sheen of the seacell really plays beautifully with these colors. You kind of have this like gray, lavender color with these beautiful stripes of orange sherbet colored and then some pink. It's really, really gorgeous. And I spun this as a fractal gradient, I'm pretty sure. And so what I did is I divided it in half and then probably divided one half or split it into lengths, maybe 2 lengths, and then split the other half into maybe 4 lengths. So all the colors really blended up well, and you don't get any solid stripes of these colors. You more have like a marled effect, which I really love, especially with 2-ply. I think it's really pretty. So yeah, this is done and off to the next knitting project. I do have to say about this pattern, one thing I love, and I mentioned in the episode last week, is that it gives suggestions on needle sizes based on the gauge of yarn you're using. So you can use any thickness of yarn on this pattern, and I just think that's so cool, especially when you're using a hand spun, or maybe you have yarn caked up. I know sometimes I have yarn caked up in my stash that I didn't end up using for a project, so I have a full cake, a giant cake of yarn ready to be used, and maybe I don't know if it's a worsted, I don't know if it's a DK. Sometimes those two get a little tricky to tell the difference if they're not labeled, but especially when they're caked up. But anyway, I love the versatility of this pattern, and it's definitely a great option for a one skein shawl project. I'm down to one knitting project on the needles now, which is my norm. I'm normally a monogamous knitter, but this is the Emma Top number 2 by Susanne Müller. It is wonderful. I'm still loving it. I'm still working on the brioche top section, but as you can tell, I've made quite a bit more progress. This is just a beautiful yarn to work with. It is called Bamboo Top by Universal Yarns. As you may recall, a year or two ago, I knit the Sunshine Coast sweater, it's still one of my favorite projects I've ever made. And I used Bamboo Top in that, and it's such a great yarn. And this color is called Winter Squash. It's so beautiful. And as you can tell, it's just like really drapey. It's going to make a beautiful top when it's all done. So not really much to write home about on this one. It has this beautiful, beautiful rib. You can actually knit 2 fronts and use it for your top, which is, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, if this is going to be just the front or if I'm going to knit an identical one for the back. We will see, but so far so good. I think this might be a project that just kind of goes on and on for a while. Because it's from the bottom up, it's just going to take a while, and I'm still a little nervous about it fitting well because I can't try it on as I go, but hopefully it all works out in the end, and I'll keep you updated. I'm using Xiaogu needles, US size 3. I'm not sure what those are in millimeters, 3.25 millimeter. I usually use Addy needles all the time, but I just for some reason had these in my stash, and I love the flexible cable. I'm not crazy about the needle. The needle's fine, but Addies are so slick, and I get used to that. So these have a little more drag on them, but the bamboo top yarn is also with that bamboo content and cotton. It's kind of slippery anyway, so it kind of makes up for it. It's really so minor, I really shouldn't say anything about it. But if you're someone who loves the slipperiness of Addy needles, then Xiaogus, in my opinion, have a little bit more drag. I didn't get much spinning progress done this week. I actually did, but it's something that I can't show you. I've actually been spinning my very first fiber club. I released it, I guess they all shipped June 10th. Right now, July pre-orders are in the shop, but it's the first month that I've had a fiber club available in my shop. And so I saved one for myself, and I've been spinning it. So hopefully I'm going to check a couple of tracking numbers and make sure that they made it to their final destination before I showed you, but I hopefully will show you that next month. It's coming along so gorgeously. It's beautiful and has been so much fun to spin, but unfortunately I can't keep you updated on that. It'll just be a surprise maybe next month or so. But I didn't get much done on my purple Passionflower spin. That's something I've been spinning on my Kromski Minstrel, and this week has just been so crazy with people needing me and different things happening that my spinning time that I've been doing in the morning just has not been available to me, which is too bad because I've really been enjoying spinning a little bit every morning on that, but hopefully I'll have some more progress to share with you next week on that. I did want to update you on my electric eel wheel. As some of you may remember, the brake band broke when I was plying up this massive skein of yarn. And it just kind of wore through and broke at the very end. When I looked at the bobbin, what I did notice is that there was almost like a little bump in the built-in whorl in the bobbin, and I think what it was is the bobbins are molded plastic, and when the molds came together, there was just a hint, like the smallest amount of plastic in the groove where the brake band set. And so what I did is I just took some really fine sandpaper and folded it and just barely touched up the little marks on the inside of the groove there. And then what I did is I needed to find some more material to make the brake band. And so the first one I tried actually worked out great. I grabbed some of my Knit Picks Dishy, which I use for knitting dishcloths, and it worked out great. So it was just a worsted weight, 100% cotton. It was straight off the cone. I think the color was natural. I mean, it was pretty run-of-the-mill, 100% cotton yarn in the worsted weight. It worked out really well. And yeah, so I wanted to keep you updated on that in case you have an electric eel wheel and, your brake band breaks. That Dishy cotton worked awesome. So I don't share acquisitions that much on this channel, mostly because I just start using them as soon as I buy them. But I did purchase some fiber and I wanted to share it with you because it's so beautiful and it was just a fun acquisition. I started spinning down my fiber stash last year or the year before, I can't really remember, but I really don't have that much fiber left in my stash. I kind of still feel like I do, but as far as like hand-dyed comb top, I really don't have that much. I maybe only have like 3 braids left or something, which is crazy. So I decided I needed to beef it up a little bit. I'd come across Emily of Woolfiend in my Instagram feed, and she had a really beautiful colorway, and so it drew me into her shop. This is the one that I actually found in her shop. This was the picture. It's called My Tie, and it's not pretty. I hope you can see it without the glare. It's just this really pretty blend of turquoises and plums and pinks and peaches. I just thought this was such a beautiful fiber, but I couldn't just buy one. I had to buy several, of course. This is on Targhee. The next one's also on Targhee. It's called Dear Diary, and again, just really beautiful turquoises and kind of like slate blues, pink, purples. I thought this was a really pretty braid. And I purchased these colors together specifically because I thought they would make a really fun combo ply. I really enjoyed doing that before, and so that's kind of what I have on my mind for these. This one is BFL. It's called Unboxing Video, which I thought was kind of fun. And it's this gorgeous, bright, punchy yellows, bright pinks, purples, and some peaches. I thought this one was so pretty. And the final braid is Corradale, and it's called Sundress, and it's just a really pretty minty green, peachy pinks, some lime green. So I thought those were all super pretty. I can't wait to break into them. I'm really happy with everything I purchased, so I cannot wait to start spinning those. It's going to be so much fun. But first, I've got to finish the purple Passionflower spin, and then I will start figuring out what I'm going to do with all those fibers. But in the back of my mind, I was also kind of thinking that Tour de Fleece is coming up, and it might be fun to have some new fiber to use for that if I decide to take part in that. It's always really hard Tour de Fleece in July because it's so humid and warm here that spinning sometimes can be hard. I mean, physically difficult because of the humidity on your fingers. It's just hard to spin. It's difficult. But we'll see. I would love to take part in it though, and so it's a great excuse to buy fiber, right? But that's really all I have this week. It's just been super, super busy. So my show off Boomerang Shawl, I was able to get a good chunk done. Actually, I was finished. I was binding off. We drove down to Charleston on Sunday to visit with some friends, and we used to live in Charleston, so it was kind of fun to go back, and the town is growing so much, so it was really fun to just see how many things are new and new buildings, and it was so great seeing our friends. They, we're just so happy that after moving quite a bit, we're back closer to them because they're just really, really great family friends, and our kids have so much fun together. So that was really fun and really special to spend some time with them. The other busyness that we've had in our family this week is that we got a dog, which is not something that we had planned on doing. I mean, we had planned in the future, soon-ish, to get a dog, but our friends have a dog who's about a year old, maybe almost a year old, and they just don't have the time right now to take care of her. And so they had asked actually if our family would like to adopt the dog, and so we just decided, sure, that's great. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's so unexpected and kind of random, but she's a really, really sweet dog. She's so well behaved and so well trained. Because we've already spent quite a bit of time with her, it really hasn't been that much of an adjustment with the kids or with anybody because we know her. But she is a poodle pointer, which is, I guess, I think they're usually used for like bird hunting or retrieving. I obviously don't really know, but we've had to keep her away from the chickens. I guess that's, the big thing is that she really, really wants the chickens. But other than that, she is a really sweet dog. Her name's Goldie, and I don't have any pictures of her because it literally just happened, and so we've kind of had to scramble getting things together and things to care for her because we don't have any pets right now, or we didn't until Goldie came to live with us. And so it's just been a little chaotic and fun, and such a nice, fun thing for the kids. They've absolutely had such a wonderful time with her so far. And the nice thing is they're all old enough, well, most of them are old enough to help out with the dog. And so I haven't had to really do anything, which was kind of part of the deal, to be honest. I told them if they wanted to have a pet, then I really needed to not be in charge of it. And so my husband and the kids have really taken that in stride and have done everything for the dog. And so, everyone's happy. It's a win-win situation for everybody involved, including me. But she's a really sweet dog, and just a really fun, unexpected surprise addition to our family. So that's been the big news with our family, and she's just been so much fun, and so far so good. But the kids are just over the moon. They're so excited about having a dog, and because it's been so nice that we've already known her, and the kids feel comfortable with her, and she is so sweet. She's such a sweet dog. And so it's really been a very easy transition for our family. And I know that's such an unusual, the whole thing is very unusual, but it's such an unusual circumstance to adopt a dog and your family's already comfortable with the dog and she's comfortable with you, and it's just it's been a really great surprise for our family so far. Now it's only been a day, so I'm sure things will happen, but yeah, it's just been really, really fun. So I have been so crazy busy with dyeing this week. Yeah, it has been a crazy time in the studio. I had my whole dye list set up of all the colorways and the tonals I was going to work on this week. And then I had a couple of things happen that threw off my schedule, just with kids' schedules and things like that. And then my scale broke, and so I weigh all of my dye beforehand and mix up recipes that way. And so without a scale, I was really lost. And I think I told you this last week in the episode. Well, I came back, I got my scale, so I've been furiously dyeing yarn, trying to catch up for the update this Friday. And yeah, so I did catch up. As a matter of fact, I just decided to kind of go crazy this week, and I have dyed up all of my tonals. So every tonal that I have on my big yarn rack that maybe you've seen before, I have a big yarn display, and yeah, I dyed up every single color of tonal, which is, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know, but they'll all be in stock. Every single color will be in stock. So my update will be this Friday, June 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at pineappleyarn.com. If you're in the market for some beautiful tonals, I will have every single color in stock. I will also have two different colorways of fiber, which is really fun. And I'll be chatting all about that on my shop update preview, which I'm going to film right after this. So keep an eye out for that. It's always really fun to talk about yarn and what colors go with each other. And I have such a fun time recording that. So I hope you have fun watching it too. That's all I have this week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this episode, I'd love if you'd give it a thumbs up. I'll see you next week for another episode of Pineapple Knits. I hope you're doing so well where you are and having so much fun with your crafting. Until next week, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.